All right. We're here again, and I'm going to be meeting with my guest, Vicki Williams, and she's the founder and CEO at Volts and Watts. And we are here with the United Nations CSW, and this is our 65th year on the Convention on the Status of Women. And what we are actually focusing on is aligning our financial goals post-pandemic and beyond. Vicki comes to us. She's going to be talking to us about custom circadian lighting. So I want everyone to listen up very carefully. We're going to learn what that is. And Vicki's going to also share with us just how not only her being in this business, but how she actually gathers financial support for being in this business and investments. So Vicki, I'm going to let you take it away and tell the audience all about yourself and what is circadian lighting, who is Volts and Watts, and just give us a good idea of what is this all about.
I'm delighted to, Yvonne. Thank you again so much for inviting me. I really feel very honored. My background is rather varied, but I do have 10 years experience providing retrofit lighting projects for Fortune 500 companies. And so that's an area that I have a great deal of expertise in. And then from there, the retrofit business really just commoditized over the last 2 years so that LEDs are so inexpensive, people don't really need my services. And my services really revolved around helping them to get all of the incentives they could to get a better ROI on that LED project. So we would go into, for instance, Technicolor, and they would have all very old metal halides and fluorescent bulbs, and we would put together a project that would allow them to change over to LEDs and put together the installation with that, along with the incentives, and they would decide to go forward or not go forward due to the ROI. So then when it was commoditized, right before that, I, of course, decided to go out on business by myself and ended up, really doing well the first couple of years. And then the third year, which was 2 years ago, we went out and put together 26 proposals for different companies around the South, and none of them came back. I didn't make I didn't close any business at all. So in the process, I was taking a look at circadian lighting. And what that is a system that mimics the sun with LED color changing light so that it mimics the sun throughout the day automatically. And it really resets your circadian rhythms in your brain. We're all inside all the time. We're not outside anymore. And we evolved to be outside under the sun. So our brains, our actual eyes and brains respond to having light all day long. And what it does is it suppresses the melatonin if you're in the sunlight all day long until it starts to go down. And then the melatonin comes on board and helps you to sleep better at night.
Oh, okay.
Let me show you what I mean. So basically, this is what the lights look like throughout the day. So early in the morning, it's kind of a pale yellow, very heading towards the orange color. As the day progresses, it changes into this really bright white, almost blue color, which would be 6500K, and then back down to the 2700K, which would be the orange yellow over here. So when you get your circadian rhythms finally back in order and you're sleeping better, we have found that for Alzheimer's patients, if they sleep better, the disease doesn't develop as quickly. So it So it slows down a little bit, and they have a much better, lifestyle because they're sleeping better, they behave better, they're just all around happier. And the disease slows down. So it's a wonderful opportunity for working with senior living. And senior living is really growing rapidly. Over the next 5 years, they anticipate that it's going to, really the entire industry is going to go from 82 billion to about 10 times that. So my idea is let's go in there and get into the senior living, help the Alzheimer's patients as quickly as we can. So after having conversations with quite a few decision makers in senior living, I discovered that they don't really like the look of the fixtures that are offered in the marketplace for circadian lighting. A lot of folks didn't really pay attention to that. So I'm offering custom-made fixtures that match the fixtures that are existing in their facilities now. And what that does is allow them to keep that lighting design, which is part of their branding. So I'm getting a really terrific response from that. Now, we've been suffering from COVID, and we're coming to the end of that. We're not quite at the end of it yet. But I have quite a few companies who are interested in going forward, or at least doing a test to go forward and see if that's, this product is going to serve their purposes. So I'm really delighted to be able to offer out something they really want. And there are an awful lot of companies. We have a ton of competition, like there has always been in lighting. It's nothing new to me, that's for sure. But some of the other folks are not focusing on Alzheimer's progression. They're focusing on being able to control the lights throughout the entire facility for whatever purposes come up. And I've really narrowed it down to specifically senior living and Alzheimer's. Now, I've also had an awful lot of people who have said, well, I don't want to send mom and dad to a facility. I want to keep them at home. But I want circadian lighting for them so that their Alzheimer's doesn't progress as quickly as it can. So I'm looking at, and I'm trying to get funding to go ahead with putting together an Amazon store for specifically a home version of this, which would, entail maybe 6-inch can lights and a really beautiful pendant. So that would look something like, let's move along and I'll show you. Something like this for the home. So let's go back again. One of the things that I love about the system that I put together, and I spent a lot of time trying to find the right system to go with, is that it has a very easy to use app. And I don't know how familiar you are with senior living, but generally they don't pay really, really well. So, the level of education for this nursing aides is not that high.
Okay.
So you need something that's extremely easy, especially if there's any kind of an emergency situation that they can, pick up in their hand very quickly, touch 1 or 2 buttons, and they have all the lights on and they're ready to go. Okay. So if there's if they have to get all of the guests out of the facility quickly, this is a very easy app to be able to make that happen. So it's a free download. They don't have to worry about anybody getting into the system other than those folks that are given permission to do so. And again, if any kind of an emergency comes up, it's super easy to get the lights up to full speed. Now, this is showing you what a circadian scene looks like. It will give you exactly the color that you want at the time of day that you want, and it stays that way through GPS. So that it doesn't matter where you are in the country, it's going to be the correct color for the correct time of day. Okay. I love that part. You don't have to worry about it at all. And then to give you an idea, whoops, keep going back, of what the fixtures would look like. Wow, what I do? Let's go back one more time. There isn't really anything that we can't do in terms of a fixture. So I'm working with one company that really has 30 years experience working with hotels, and they can put together very, very fancy chandeliers like the ones we're looking at right here. And then I have another company I'm working with that provides me with fixtures that are designed and put together in China. So they're very, very cost effective. And then I have another company that's working strictly with US made fixtures. So regardless of what comes up, I can accommodate any client with the three
Vicki,
different
can you, okay, you brought something out there. You said like hotels, or,
Yes.
you know, I would imagine hotels, hospitals. So basically what you're saying is we could literally have in a hospital, instead of the bright fluorescent lights that we see all throughout
Yes.
the hospital, you could literally
Yes.
have lighting, I should say, that mimics the lighting of the sun.
Absolutely. And that's
Okay, and that goes throughout the day. That could be time to go throughout the day. So it's
That's
like
right.
you go from day to night, and the body is getting the proper rhythm. So
That's right.
is
So
that
they
that
rest
basically-
better. That's right. They rest better. The circadian rhythm can be regulated, and when that happens, they rest better. If they rest better, they heal better. Right?
now
That's the way that works.
would be for anyone, correct?
It really would be. Yes. Now,
Oh,
I'm a
okay.
small business, so I have to focus, right? When you're in a small business, you have to focus your efforts in one area. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to penetrate that any particular area. If you try to spread yourself too thin, you're not going to get in anywhere. So I have decided to focus on specifically senior living. And again, I'm getting some very good traction in that area. And I think that's a wonderful start. That doesn't mean that it's not available for all these other applications. I think one of the most important would be prisons. Those people are never outside. They're always stressed and tense. They never sleep well. If there was any way that we could help them, I'd love to see that happen. But again, that's not an area of expertise that I have. Senior living is. So I have to really focus, especially when I'm getting it off the ground, especially when I'm getting it off the ground. But yes, this could absolutely help anybody under any circumstances. And I love the idea of hospitals because it really does help people to heal.
Oh, okay. Well, that's excellent. And one of the reasons why I brought that up, no, I understand you're absolutely right. You do that laser focus, and you really commandeer, that particular niche, and then you spread out. I understand that. One of my reasons for asking that is that also would help your case when you're saying, for senior living, because even the contrast of how that person is doing in the hospital versus how much better they do when they go to one of the nursing facilities that you have actually put these in, that can be something as well. And they say, oh, wow, they progress so much better, just being at the facility as opposed to when they were at the hospital, up under the fluorescent lighting.
Right,
and sometimes that's the way we kind of, use that as our proof of concept, and then to kind of backtrack to validate what you are, what you're actually.
I'm going to zip down here real quick, and I hope that didn't give you a headache. But as an addendum, go ahead and put in some of the study links that I think are most important in terms of senior living. And so we have an awful lot of study. This has really been in effect for the last 8 years. NASA is using it on the space station to help everybody in the space stay healthy and, sleep properly and be able to take advantage of a regulated circadian rhythm. In addition to that, there's an awful lot of important studies that have been done on the role of eyes in systemic health. So those photoreceptors and circadian and the combination of all of those is very, very important. So there is a plethora of information out there. I just decided to go ahead and add in these 3 because I think they're the most important at the moment. But I have about 400 studies if you would like.
That is excellent. That is excellent. And I really, appreciate you coming on and talking to us about these particular things. And you look like you have an excellent team that you have, advising you and that you're working with. And I see you've got, Atlanta Technology Angels are working with you. And that's is right. Wonderful. That is very...
This is what I wanted to mention is that I have had other opportunities to work with some, really prestigious accelerators in the past. And I just stumbled upon Cranium, and it has turned out to be one of the best things I've ever done. So we're really at a place where they have helped me to streamline and really polish my presentation to the point where I feel confident going ahead and showing this to investors. And Bill Midget is one of the reasons that I'm happy to do that. He had a company in the past that was very familiar with circadian lighting. In fact, they provided the reflectors for the circadian lights in the space station. So space station has very limited energy, as you know. So they had to take the lights that were working beautifully and add reflectors so that they could use even less electricity than the LEDs. Now, the LEDs are 79% less energy than a fluorescent, but they needed to get it down even lower. So he's extremely familiar with what we are trying to accomplish here. And like I said, I'm just thrilled with the information and the people that I've been able to meet through this accelerator called Cranium. And it's out of Atlanta. And I think all of anybody who is watching would be delighted, yes. I'm sure. Take a look at this and really get some help from them. I think they do a beautiful job. Another accelerator that I feel very strongly about, of course, is Launchpad 2X, and its focus is on specifically women in business, and it helps them to get to the place where they can get investors as well. And even if you're not interested in an investor, it'll get you to the place where you are running your business very efficiently and be able to tackle some problems and have some place to go when you do have problems with your business.
Well, that is wonderful, because, and I know that everyone out there is very much interested in, because we do have, this is going out, this is for the United Nations for our status on women and women in the workforce, women in business. And as you can see, we have women who are out there, like such as Vicki, and she shared, and thank you so much. I appreciate you sharing with us and, your story about how like you said, it wasn't working, but you put them 26 proposals together, but that didn't stop you from going on to proposal number 27 and 28 and getting it to the point where you knew you had something, you knew you had an idea, you knew you had something people needed. And you're absolutely right, especially as the baby boomers are coming even more so, fighting it tooth and nail, but into the senior living facilities. And they are going to be, very much appreciative that, now here is something that's just as simple as a light bulb that they can turn on and it will actually, make just all that much difference and in their lives and in their lifespan and the quality of their life.
Absolutely.
So Vicki, I just wanted to say, it looks like this industry that you are in is not bounded, with any inequality issues. It's more or less, do you have the knowledge and do you have the fortitude to move forward in the industry? Would you agree with that?
Yes and no. I think that there's still, lighting in general and any kind of construction is still a male-dominated field. So I am one of 2 women that I know of that actually sell lighting projects into industry. So there's not a lot of us, but I have run across some folks that are in the manufacturing field that are women. So I'm delighted about that. I'm actually working with one of them, and I'm thrilled that that's the case. And I see that as a growing part of lighting in the future. And I'll tell you another reason why I think that. I had an opportunity to work with an architect who was teaching industrial design at Auburn University, and we did a class for circadian lighting, and all of the students came up with their own design for circadian lighting, and they were the most beautiful things you could imagine. I just could not get over how brilliant those kids were. But on top of that, how many women were in the class? It was split right down the middle. So I'm seeing some real development happening down the road, especially with design. So I think that is wonderful.
That is so good to hear that these young girls, these women and young girls are coming into these industries, because nothing says that you can't.
Absolutely.
And more and more that you do, that you come in, you make the way for yourself. You don't go there and ask for someone to make the way for you. You make the way for yourself. And then you follow the path of like women like Vicki Williams, who are leading the way in some of these things. And you follow that path and what they are doing. And then you see that it makes the way easier for you when we have women, like this, who forge ahead.
Absolutely. Their creativity and their determination was something to behold. These kids are so brilliant. It just blows me away. I can't get over it. I think we're so lucky. And somebody's doing a good job somewhere. These kids are fabulous.
Well, that is so wonderful. That is so wonderful. Did you have any last words or last things you wanted to say? Vicki, we can contact you, I know, at www.votesandwattsllc.com to get more information. And,
let me pull this up. Yes, I think it's going to be. We have 2 investor meetings coming up. There's a chance that I could get up and running on the home system within less than 6 months. So keep your eyes peeled for the system on Amazon. And I'd be delighted to hear any questions from anybody. I'd be thrilled to hear from you. Please contact me.
Okay, well, thank you. We definitely will, and we look forward to having you back on the show to maybe give us a demonstration and show us some lights and actions, and give us a nice little video of where some of your installations have gone, or definitely send some information back to us when that's available on Amazon. And we would definitely like to put that, in our cadre so that we can make that available to women around the world, because there's so many places where they, not to mention they don't have circadian lighting, they don't have lighting. So I think they would appreciate to have lighting, of any kind. And I'm pretty sure that Volts and Watts could help to meet some of those needs. So thank you again, Vicki, and we look forward to working with you in the future.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed meeting you, Yvonne. I appreciate this opportunity.
Thank you so much. I enjoyed meeting you as well.
Bye now. Thank you.